Nearly 40 years ago, Nicole Louise Moran disappeared, and it left the police and her community really confused. Even though the Toronto police did their biggest missing person investigation ever, Nicole was never found again. So what really happened to her? How did she disappear? Let's find that in this video. Nicole Louise Moran came into this world on April 1, 1977, making her the only child of Jeanette and Arthur Art Moran. Her parents had been married for 12 years when Nicole was born. Nicole stayed with her mom while her dad lived in nearby Mississauga at the time she disappeared. Nicole was just like any other kid, a cheerful and friendly little girl who brought joy to everyone around her. Her happy-go-lucky nature made her a delight to be with, and she had many friends who enjoyed her company. Life seemed pretty normal for Nicole, surrounded by the love of her family and the laughter of friends. Detective Constable Melissa Elishuk shared a special bond with Nicole, as they were childhood friends who walked to school together every day. Fondly reminiscing about their shared memories, Elishuk recalled, "We had a lot of fun playing together. We would make our own fun using our imaginations and played outside, and we used to go swimming all the time in the pool that was for our particular building." These childhood adventures created a strong connection between the two girls, emphasizing the simplicity and joy of their friendship. The shared laughter, imaginative play, and sunny days spent swimming formed the backdrop of their close-knit relationship. Nicole's disappearance has cast a long shadow over the years, and although her case is now considered cold, Detective Constable Elishuk wants the public to remember that it is not closed. The unsolved mystery of Nicole's vanishing act still lingers, and Elishuk serves as a reminder that the search for answers continues. The passage of time may have dimmed the active investigation, but the hope for resolution remains, echoing the enduring commitment to uncover the truth behind Nicole's disappearance.
She was smart, she was fun. We got along very well. You know, she was the sister I didn't have at the time.
On a summer day, July 30th, 1985, around 11 a.m., Nicole Moran left her family's apartment on the 20th floor of a big condo building in Etobicoke, Toronto, Canada. Her plan for the day was to meet her friend Jennifer in the lobby, and the two were excited about swimming in the condo pool. Now, there's a bit of uncertainty about whether Nicole was last seen getting into the elevator or walking down the hallway. The building where Nicole went missing is at 627 the West Mall in Etobicoke. Before heading out, Nicole chatted with Jennifer through the intercom, telling her friend that she'd be in the lobby in a few minutes. The pool they were looking forward to was at the back of the building. Around 15 minutes later, Jennifer buzzed Nicole's mom, Jeanette, wondering why Nicole hadn't shown up yet. Jeanette, busy with other young children in her apartment's daycare, thought Nicole had already left. She explained to Jennifer that Nicole might be at the pool or playing with other kids at the back of the complex. However, as time passed, Jeanette began to worry. Hours later, she realized Nicole was nowhere to be found. It was only at 3 p.m. that Jeanette reported her daughter missing to the police. The realization struck hard, and the community was now faced with the unsettling disappearance of a young girl who had set out for a simple day of swimming with a friend. The details of that day remain hazy. Was Nicole seen entering the elevator, or was she walking down the hallway? The uncertainty adds to the mystery that has lingered for decades. Nicole's mother, occupied with the daily activities of taking care of children, initially thought Nicole was happily engaged in the planned pool day or playing with friends. Little did she know that her daughter had vanished, setting into motion a search that would unfold over the coming years. The building at 627, the West Mall, where Nicole went missing, became a place marked by questions and concerns. The pool at the rear of the complex, once a destination for childhood fun, now became a symbol of the last known moments before Nicole disappeared. The passage of time has not erased the impact of that summer day. The community, along with Nicole's family, has grappled with the unanswered questions surrounding her disappearance. Despite the debate about the last moments Nicole was seen, the overarching puzzle of where she went that day and why has endured. Nicole's mother, Jeanette, faced the heart-wrenching reality that her daughter was missing only after hours had passed. The delay in reporting highlights the initial belief that Nicole was safe and engaged in typical childhood activities. The subsequent realization, however, marked the beginning of a prolonged search for Nicole, a search that continues to this day, leaving an indelible mark on the community and etching Nicole's name into the pages of a decades-long unsolved mystery.
I think it's very possible that she's out there.
Melissa Alaschuk once walked to school with Nicole every day. Now a police officer and a mother of 4, she always has her eyes open.
Somebody will come forward and give us that one little missing piece of the puzzle that kind of connects all the dots for us.
And that's what Nicole's father holds on to.
It never really leaves your mind. She's my flesh and blood, right? So how can I forget her?
A father who now has another image to remember her by. Molly Thomas, CTV News, Toronto.
When the police got the call, they rushed to the scene, ready to find Nicole. They didn't waste any time and started searching all over the apartments. Staff Sergeant Madeleine Treader, who's been in charge of the case since 2008, mentioned that it was the biggest search for a missing person in Toronto police history. To make sure they didn't miss anything, the police set up roadblocks around the complex, and police cars with loudspeakers let everyone know they were looking for Nicole. It was like a big operation to find her. The police went door to door to all 429 apartments in the complex, knocking on each one. If someone didn't answer, they went inside to check. They even found a woman who remembered seeing Nicole. Through this, they figured out that Nicole had used the elevator and was last seen in the lobby. The police worked hard to cover every corner of the complex, making sure they talked to everyone and checked every possible place where Nicole might be.
Police reenactment shows how 8-year-old Nicole got onto the elevator to meet a friend at the pool, but was never seen again.
We have no signs to say that she is not alive.
At the time, Toronto police launched the largest search in its history.
She's 4 feet tall.
Diligently going door to door, wading through water.
Despite their efforts, the mystery of where Nicole went that day and why she disappeared remained unsolved, leaving the community and the police with unanswered questions. The day after Nicole disappeared, the police launched a big search operation. They used foot patrols, boats in the water, helicopters in the sky, and even police on horses to look around the area near Highway 27, close to where Nicole lived. Tracking dogs were brought in to check places like utility rooms, storage units, sump pump rooms, and underground garages. A group called Crime Stoppers, which helps with solving crimes, offered a reward of $1,000. They made flyers, shared information, and even showed on TV a reenactment of what Nicole might have been doing before she disappeared. Later on, the police increased the reward to $100,000, and that offer is still open today. The Toronto Star, a newspaper, printed 6,000 copies of a flyer with Nicole's photo and details, along with the police department's number. They wanted as many people as possible to be aware and help if they had any information. The police worked hard on Nicole's case. They spent 25,000 hours investigating and talking to around 6,000 people, with a focus on hundreds of people with a history of certain crimes. This investigation cost about $1.8 million in the first year alone. This search for Nicole became the biggest effort ever made to find a missing child in Toronto. They created a special team of 20 members who worked on this case for 9 months. They made sure to check and clear Nicole's family and friends from any involvement in her disappearance, focusing on finding the truth behind this mystery. In recent times, they made pictures to show how Nicole might look as she got older. The National Center for Missing and Exploited Children in Virginia event helped with this. Acting Detective Sergeant Stephen Smith shared that Nicole disappeared somewhere between her apartment and the lobby. Back then, the police didn't have the tools they do now, and there were no cameras. In a twist of fate, the owners of the building had planned to install cameras the very next day after Nicole went missing. Now there's one investigator working full-time on Nicole's case, with others helping out. They recently updated all the files and got tips pointing to a place north of Toronto, but nothing has been found yet. Detective Sergeant Smith promises that the police won't stop looking into Nicole's case. They're really hoping that just one person will call with information they didn't know before. Finding Nicole would mean a lot to her family, and Detective Sergeant Smith mentioned how Nicole's disappearance has left a lasting impact on everyone involved in the case.
We were able to relook at a number of tips, and we were able to find some tips that kind of pointed to each other, and it centered on one area, so we went up and investigated that area.
New information has renewed efforts to solve the disappearance of 8-year-old Nicole Moran. Nicole left her Etobicoke apartment building on the West Mall July 30th, 1985. She was never seen again. Late last month, police spent a week excavating a wooded area north of the city, but so far coming up empty-handed. There is now also a full-time investigator working on this case, as well as officers who are digitizing tips and evidence.
Something strange happened after Nicole disappeared. The police found her diary, and in it, she had written, "I'm going to disappear." The police didn't really understand what to think because kids can write all sorts of things without them meaning much. Another unusual thing during the investigation was when the police went to Quebec to talk to Nicole's dad's brother-in-law. He had been found guilty of killing Nicole's dad's sister in 1961. However, he had already passed away, and the police figured out that he wasn't in Toronto when Nicole went missing. In 2020, after many years of searching, a woman came forward and told the police that she saw Nicole at a nearby park on the day she disappeared. This woman was only 12 years old when Nicole went missing, and she explained that she stayed quiet because the man she saw Nicole with had hurt her before, and she was afraid to speak up. The police got interested in this new lead and went to the park with special dogs trained to find things. They dug in an area where the dogs sensed something unusual, but so far they haven't gotten any closer to finding Nicole. Nicole's disappearance had a big impact on the community. Parents became more careful, and everyone seemed to hold their kids a bit tighter. Nat Mann, who lived near Nicole, still thinks about her. He remembers passing by her apartment building, always wondering what happened to her. It was a scary time for him, knowing that there are some not-so-good people out there, and that's why he stays interested in true crime. Nicole's dad, Art, always wished to find out what happened to his daughter while he was still alive. After Nicole was taken, Art moved back in with Nicole's mom, Jeanette, but they separated for good in the late 1990s. When Nicole disappeared, I honestly believed we would be able to find her. I cannot help but keep my hope that she will surface again one day, Art shared with the Toronto Star in 2010. Nicole was everything to her parents. Art did his best as a dad, and he continued hoping that one day they'd find Nicole, even as the years went by. He still lives in Etobicoke, not too far from where Nicole disappeared. Sadly, Jeanette passed away in 2007 from a heart attack without ever knowing what happened to her daughter. While she was alive, Jeanette never lost hope.
A young face full of promise, Nicole Moran would now be a 42-year-old woman, except nobody knows where she is. Her father, who spent more than a decade frantically searching, is now in his 80s and exhausted.
And I said, wow, this is really good. And probably that's what she would look like.